All right, here we are. Once again, it's Johnny on the spot, science reporter for the Real News Network. No fake and junk news here. Once again, I'm here with the Teenage Super Sleuth. We've got Detective Unknown, Sergeant Backflip, and Inspector Home Run.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And we have any similarities to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. All characters and events in this show, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated poorly. All right, and here is our new secret location. Once again, we're having to move around because they raided the Bat Cave and have taken all the Super Sleuth's research facilities, but they were able to escape. However, you were telling me that Professor Lizzie and Professor Yeats have not been seen since that raid, right? They were kidnapped by the NSA, CIA, or FBI. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you want all your friends out there to start looking for Professor Yeats and Professor Lizzie, right?
Yes.
All right. So you want to give a big shout out to them. Now you're saying that the one looks like Ariana Grande, and that was Professor Lizzie, and then Professor Yeats looks like Taylor Swift.
Yes.
All right. Professor Unknown, you got anything to say to Professor Lizzie or Yeats? Just that you miss them and you hope to make another video with them sometime soon?
Yes.
You're not talking? Are you okay, so here we are. This is the secret location. Now what you're telling me is that as validation of your research, you have found that someone just recently made a video that you want to call attention to that is very similar to the video that you made earlier, right?
Yes, but key point after the video.
That's right. You came out with the research. So we're not claiming that they used your content to make their video, but they did a great job. They had more researchers and made the video a little bit more aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
All right. Professor Home Run, you concur with that?
Yes.
Maybe you should concur with Professor Backflip to make sure he agrees with it.
Do you agree?
Yes, I sure do.
Okay, well, here's the video you were telling me about. It's Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, Natural News, the world's top news source on natural health. Health Ranger Science CO2 Dead Cities is the video that you wanted to call my attention to?
Yes.
And what you're telling me is that he covered much of the material that you've already covered in your videos. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then, this is what he has in his video?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you really want to do is you just want to call everyone's attention to this video, to go watch it. It's kind of like validation that, hey, look, you're not crazy. You know, this data, anyone can look it up. It's just that people aren't willing to look it up, and especially teachers aren't willing to look this stuff up, right?
Yeah.
Right now, Professor Backflip, what you were thinking that everybody should watch these videos, share them around in your classrooms, but never share them with the teachers, right?
Right.
Okay, and because of that, what it is you want to make sure the students have the real knowledge, the Gnostic knowledge, the real truth. And so when they're sitting there and the teacher's teaching them this other nonsense, you can just sit there and snicker and say the teacher doesn't know what they're talking about. Because I'm a 13-year-old and I know more than you.
Yep.
That's right? And so you can all consider it be like an inside joke. See how foolish my teacher is? She doesn't even know the basics, or he doesn't even know the basics, right?
Yep.
That's right. So you guys can have like a party after the thing just to can laugh about your teachers, how gullible they are, right?
Yep.
Okay, so once again, go and watch this video is what you're telling me.
Yep, and make sure to subscribe to the Teenage Sleuths and follow us on Twitter.
Not only subscribe, share it, pass it around, post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, and more importantly, see if you can get it banned. We're willing to bet that people are so scared of these that they're going to get it either shadow banned or shut down. My understanding is your people were trying to shut down your Facebook.
Oh, yes. I got it from Google, from the official Teenage Super Sleuth hidden email address.
Oh, my.
That's been attempted to be hacked.
I told you. Once you start treading in this area,
Security
the
alert.
FBI's are trying to find out what cave you're in today.
I've already had to upgrade to 2FA.
Well, okay, like, share, subscribe, comment. Please keep watching the video because we're going to, right after we shut off here, see the video produced by Mike Adams. What it basically does is validate some of the stuff that we've been talking about.
And cut.
All righty.
If you believe the EPA, then you think that carbon dioxide is a pollutant, that CO2 is bad for the planet, right? You might even believe there should be a war on carbon because CO2 is made partially of carbon. Well, if carbon dioxide is a pollutant, then we should get rid of it, right? What would be the appropriate level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere if it's a pollutant? A lot of people would tell you it should be 0, because if it's a pollutant, you should get rid of it, eliminate it from the atmosphere, and clean up the planet and make it green, right? If you believe that, you're about to be shocked by the scientific reality I'm going to show you. My name's Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, and you're watching a Health Ranger Science video. Let's take a look at Los Angeles today. Full of life, right? Lots of people, trees, grass, plants, animals, insects. It's a thriving city. This is Los Angeles today, with carbon dioxide levels of about 410 parts per million in the atmosphere. Now, I'm going to show you what Los Angeles would look like if carbon dioxide were dropped to 0. Here it is. Dead. Desolate. No life. No humans, no animals, no plants. Because if you eliminate carbon dioxide, you murder humanity. You murder the planet. Carbon dioxide is the molecule of life that every plant needs to live, and if you eliminate it, you kill everything. Here's New York City today with carbon dioxide of 410 parts per million. And now here's what New York City would look like if you eliminate carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. If you think CO2 is a pollutant and you try to get rid of it, you will murder every person living in New York City. And Toronto. Here's Toronto with CO2 at 410 parts per million. And here's Toronto if you eliminate all CO2 from the atmosphere. It's dead. In fact, every city on our planet would be lifeless and dead, and humanity would be extinct if we eliminated CO2 from the atmosphere. Take a look at Seattle with carbon dioxide, and here's Seattle without carbon dioxide. It's dead. Here's Tokyo with carbon dioxide as it exists today, and here's what Tokyo would look like if you eliminate carbon dioxide. Albuquerque, New Mexico, with carbon dioxide and without carbon dioxide. You see, the climate change alarmists are not just scientifically wrong and often scientifically illiterate. They are insane. If they get their way, they will murder all life on our planet except microbial life, which can survive without CO2. But every plant will be dead. Every animal will be dead. The entire food supply will collapse. Without CO2, humanity would die from mass starvation. It would be the complete collapse of civilization. And there is no rational scientist who could disagree with any of these statements because CO2 is necessary for photosynthesis. Plants have no way to survive without CO2. In fact, today plants are starving for CO2 because carbon dioxide is right now at nearly the lowest levels it has ever been in the history of our planet. Take a look at this chart using data from the government itself. It shows that CO2 levels in the past were more than 15 times higher than they are today. Climate change alarmists ridiculously claim that CO2 is right now at the highest it's ever been. They try to tell you it's rising dangerously and the planet is going to overheat. And yet, if you look at the history of CO2 levels versus average global temperature, you'll find that there is no correlation between high CO2 levels and high average global temperatures. In fact, when CO2 levels were over 15 times higher in Earth's history, the temperature wasn't 15 times higher. It was, in fact, no higher whatsoever than this narrow range in which temperatures have cycled over the last few hundred million years between about 12 degrees centigrade and 22 degrees centigrade. So you might wonder, what would a world look like with higher CO2 levels than we have today? Given the fact that plants are starving for CO2, it barely exists in the environment. It's very low right now at 410 parts per million. If we doubled it to, let's say, 820 parts per million, what would the planet actually look like? Here are some pictures that show you. It would be more lush, more green, Rainforests would flourish. Areas that are currently deserts could grow forests. Food production would be amplified. People could grow food more affordably. Third world countries could be more self-sufficient with a more abundant food supply. CO2 is, far from being a pollutant, CO2 is actually the miracle molecule of life for our planet. Without it, we would all die. And yet, because of the climate change propaganda from people like Al Gore or Leonardo DiCaprio, most people think carbon dioxide is dangerous and deadly and a horrible pollutant that must be eliminated. But if the climate change alarmists get their wish and succeed in eliminating all CO2 from our atmosphere, they will murder all life on our planet. Are they really so scientifically illiterate that they would push us toward a future that cannot sustain life on our planet? Do they want Earth to be a dead desert? Do they want the cities to collapse? Do they want the mass suffering and starvation of all of humanity? Do they want all plant life to die? To eliminate forests and eliminate the food supply, eliminate the animals, eliminate entire ecosystems? Is that what they want? Because that's what they're asking for. That's what they're demanding. And they demand that you go along with it. And they demand that if you don't agree with their horrifically bad science narrative that claims CO2 is a pollutant, then you must be a bad person and you don't support the greening of the planet. People, CO2 is the molecule that creates a green planet. Don't you get it? They've got it all backwards on purpose. They've convinced you that this molecule of life that grows more plants and more trees and more forests is somehow a pollutant. And they want to eliminate it, which would kill everything. We cannot survive without abundant CO2 on this planet. And if you've been swept up in the climate change narrative, you need to look in the mirror and you need to ask yourself, how were you so easily fooled? Why were you suckered into that narrative by Al Gore and Leonardo DiCaprio and other celebrities who are scientifically illiterate but famous actors? They don't know anything about science. They would kill us all by accident if we let them get their way and eliminate carbon dioxide from our atmosphere. Finally, every time you exhale, you are exhaling carbon dioxide. Every organic molecule in your body is made of carbon. Your hormones, progesterone, for example, are made of carbon. When you eat fruits and vegetables, the nutrients in those fruits and vegetables are made of carbon. Vitamin C, for example, is made of carbon. Cannabidiol in your hemp extract is made of carbon. In that case, 21 carbons per CBD molecule. If you don't understand that carbon is essential to all life as we know it on our planet, then you too are a danger to life on this planet. You must stop being so easily misinformed. A high carbon dioxide planet is a green planet, and a low carbon dioxide planet is a dead planet. It's time for you to recalibrate what you think you know about carbon dioxide, because everything you've been told by the status quo is not just wrong, but dangerous and even deadly for the future of life on our planet. If you are an environmentalist, if you support animals, if you support plants and rainforests and the greening of the planet, you have to support higher CO2, not lower. That's the scientific truth that almost no one dare tell you. Thank you for watching. Find more science videos at healthrangerscience.com. Support our films for humanity. Visit healthrangerstore.com. The cleanest lab-verified health products in the world.